Hello everyone, this is Shantanu Bhosale and welcome you all in Curious Academy. In our today's video, we are going to understand what is this 8 Central Pay Commission all about, what it does, what is its economic significance. As you can see here, the Prime Minister of India in the month of January 2025 announced establishment of the 8 Pay Commission, and on 28th of October 2025, the government has finalized the composition as well as the terms of reference of the 8 CPC. The central government has a total number of 50 lakh or 5 million employees now, and in addition to this, there are around 69 lakh pensioners. Composition of the 8 Central Pay Commission. It is headed by Justice Ranjana Prakash Desai, a former Supreme Court judge, and she is also chairperson of the Press Council of India. Apart from Justice Desai, the commission will have IIM Bangalore Professor Pulak Ghosh as member, which is of part-time, and Petroleum Secretary Pankaj Jain as member secretary. The pay commission system began soon after the independence to periodically revise the salary structure of government employees in line with inflation, economic growth and living cost. First Central Pay Commission was constituted in year 1946 and implemented in year 1947. As you see that every 10 years Central Pay Commission has been constituted. 8 Pay Commission terms of reference has been approved in 2025, which is late. It does not mean that the benefits have been lapsed. It will be benefited from 1st of January 2026. If the government announces the 8 CPC in 2027 or early 2028, the extra salary from the 1st of January 2026 will get to the central government employees. Terms of reference. What does it actually mean? When you are reading about the 16th Finance Commission, whose terms has been extended very recently, there is again the mention of terms of reference. The terms of reference in simple terms actually mean what are the areas the commission is supposed to provide recommendations. So in the context of 8 Pay Commission, what are the important terms of reference? 1. When the Pay Commission will give you recommendation, that is to the union government, it has to consider what are the economic conditions in the country and the need for fiscal prudence. This is important again, not just targeting the central government employees here. Understand the logic here. When the Pay Commission will give you recommendation, that is to the union government, as a convention, the union government will simply adopt it and increase the pay packages. As a result of that, the overall expenditure of the union government will increase. For example, if you take the previous Pay Commission, that is 7th Pay Commission, the committee recommendation came into force from 2016. As a result of this, the overall expenditures, that is the salary package which are paid by the government to the government employees, has increased by rupees 1 lakh crore, and currently if you take for the financial year 2026, the salary paid by the government, again I am talking about the overall salaries that are paid or overall expenditure that is incurred by the government on the employees, is around 7 lakh crore, and that this 7 lakh crore is about 18% of revenue expenditure, and the 7th Pay Commission basically recommended increasing the pay packages by around the 157%. Again, I am talking in terms of fitment factor. The fitment factor was around 2.5, which means basically the value packages were to be increased by 2.5 times. For example, if someone is getting salary of 8,000 rupees earlier, then their salary will be increased by 2.5 times. Another example, if someone take the same salary now, suddenly he will be getting a salary of 20,000 rupees, it would be increased to rupees 50,000. So there is a discussion associated with the fitment factor. Please remember that in fact Various groups have demanded the fitment factor to be around 2.8 by the 8 pay commission, and that essentially will lead to a very high expenditure, and that will lead to higher revenue expenditure of the government. This makes the fiscal math of the union government difficult because the government of India wants to target the revenue deficit and reduce it, and in fact now it is also targeting the public debt and reduce it. So it has to consider what are the economic conditions of the country as well as the need for the financial prudence. Second, it has to ensure that the adequate resources are available for developmental purposes. It should not just make expenditure on salaries, as it will impact on other welfare expenditures. Third, it has to consider the unfunded cost of non-contributory pensioners schemes. If the government of India will provide this kind of a hike, obviously it will also lead to higher expenditures that the government has to incur in providing for the pensions. Fourth, it will also has to consider that the factor of the likely impact of this on the finances of the state governments, because generally state governments adopted the same recommendation to revise their government employees' salaries. Fifth, so the recommendation will have to consider this as well as. And finally, the prevailing emolument structure, the benefit as well as the working conditions available to the employees of the central public sector undertakings as well as the private sector. And last, it will also need to estimate the impact on state finances, as the recommendation of CPC are adopted by the state governments. The commission must consider the cascading effect on the economy. Implementation timeline of the 8 CPC. Report has to be submitted within the 18 months by mid 2027, but if government decisions comes in late 2027 or early 2028, it will be implemented from the 1st of January 2026. Most probably, salary will be given retrospectively. Expected outcome and projections. Now see, report will come, assessment will be done, but what is important is the fitment factor, which is around 2.57%. Assume that the fitment factor stays the same, then in that case minimum basic pay increase from 18,000 and minimum pensioners could increase from 9,000 to 23,130 will go. But most of the experts believe it is unrealistic. Former Finance Secretary Subhash Chandra Garg has suggested the fitment factor to be around, which will result in a 92% salary increase and pensioner increase, taking the minimum basic pay to rupees 34,560, and the minimum basic of new IS officer would be 1,07,712 from the previous basic pay of 56,100 rupees. Challenges ahead. First, fiscal stress, as the union salary and pension bill may increase by rupees 1.5 to 2 lakh crore annually post implementation of the 8 CPC. Second, state finances, as state adopted CPC recommendation will face serious financial stress, especially smaller and poorer ones states. Third, balancing expectations. On one side, employees unions are demanding higher fitment factor while finance ministry prioritizes fiscal restraint. And fourth, there is also public perception from the private sector, as they make invite criticism. For example, as the average joining salary for past 18 years in IT sector is around 3.5 to 4 lakh, despite high inflation and living cost increase, the salary has been stagnant for IT sector for joining employees. Thank you for watching Curious Academy. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.